when people are generating ideas musically with AI, it's not actually coming from them. Because at its core, it's not me. It's the AI.
How has Spotify changed the creative process?
People are now putting out safe music that can be put on in the background. People are now putting songs on Spotify that are even shorter to appease the TikTok audience. Releasing an album these days is like suicide. And that's really the job of a DJ. It's not play the songs people want to hear. It's play the songs people didn't know they wanted to hear.
Yes. Welcome to The Ambiguous Truth. I'm your host, Anthony Mistretta, and today I'm bringing to you a Denver-based DJ producer, Chad, aka Discognition. So I've had the opportunity to see Discognition perform only once, but he blew me away. I do not know many DJs that have the ability to connect with their audience to the level that Discognition does. Chad was able to read the audience, pick up on our energy, adjust the discography and his mixing to us, and it absolutely blew me away. The level of connection with his fans, or as he calls friends, you'll hear later on, is second tier to none. You can really tell that his objective as a producer and a DJ is connection. It shines through in his music he produces, and it shines through, I think, even more intensely in his live performances. So I'd like to introduce you to Chad Vasquez, aka Discognition. I gotta just say, Chad, it's so funny when I saw your Instagram, because Frankie told me to look at your Instagram. So I saw your profile, and then she told me later that your name, I don't know if it says Chad. Does it say Chad on your Instagram?
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. Right. And then she's like, yeah, his name's Chad. I'm like, no, it's fucking not.
Yeah, not that guy. Yeah.
No way.
Chad Vasquez. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I hate my name. It's an ongoing beef with me and my parents.
I didn't mean it that way. No,
I did. Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah, no, I agree with you. The black Mexican kid is named Chad. Okay, yes. Yeah.
Like, that's not what I was... I mean, I wasn't expecting anything because I saw who you were before I knew your name.
Yeah.
So I was like, Chad, what the fuck?
Well, and my brother got the cool name. He's my older brother, and his real God-given name is Camaro. And I'm like, okay. And I'm Chad. So, like... I don't know. Depending on who you ask, they might be like, I'm glad my name's not Camaro, but I don't know.
Dude, that's a cool name.
Yeah, it's a fucking cool name. It's an objectively cool name.
It is. Well, I got one for you. So my dad wanted to name me Giacomo. He's a big opera fan, Giacomo Puccini. And my mom put her foot down and was like, we're not naming him Giacomo. Everyone's going to call him Jockstrapped. Well, that's an excuse to punch someone. Yeah. But... yeah, I was like, damn, I could have been Giacomo? That's a fucking cool name.
It is a cool name. It's like one of those things where, like, yeah, once you get through high school, like, who cares? If people made fun of you or whatever in elementary school, whatever. And then you become an adult, and then, like, the people who matter, they're like, that's a fucking sick name.
Right. Actually, talking to Lojo, we had a similar thread come up, which was, like, the things that were once nerdy and dweeby and shitty are now just like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, oh, you play saxophone? You're in band? And now it's like, oh, you play saxophone? It's like, where the fuck was this when I was in middle school marching band? No one gave a fuck about Anthony. And now they're like, oh.
Dude, and that's actually a really awesome topic because, like, DJs being the modern, like, rock stars right now is kind of hilarious to me. Like, it's, yeah, the thing.
How so?
Like, it used to be, like, okay, the biggest rock star, they're all playing instruments, guitars, singers, drummers. Like, those guys are obviously still doing that. But I personally can't tell you the last time I went to a show. I can, actually. It was like 2 years ago. I went to see Lewis Cole, who's, like, phenomenal musician. And, like, seeing him is an experience. But then it's like, today's day and age, everyone in our generation is, like, going and seeing DJs, which is like awesome for me, but for other people who, you know, like people like my dad, who's a musician, he's like, oh, they're not real musicians. They're not really doing anything. And I'm like, well, you know, they make most of the music they're playing, right?
Right.
And so like trying to explain that to him, but yeah, like things that were nerdy. Like I played the flute in middle school and high school marching band until I made a transition to percussion and the snare line. And it was like, yeah, I got made fun of. But then, like, I tell people now, I'm in my 30s, and they're like, oh, you played the flute? That's kind of fucking sick. And I'm like, yeah,
They think of Anchorman now versus, like...
Dude, seriously, Anchorman saved me, dude.
100%.
It was like, oh, can you play some Yaz flute, Chad? I'm like, let's give it a shot, you know?
Yeah. No, that's... I mean, I think, like, there's also a difference between playing an instrument and composing, you know? And, like, at the end of the day, production is a composition. And so I feel like it's a different set of skills for that. That's no less impressive than the ability to play an instrument.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like it's more because it requires more like vision and sort of creativity compared to just, I don't know, you can get away with playing an instrument technically well without much creativity. You know, if you're good at, like, I feel like when I started to learn saxophone, I was good at saxophone because I was good at reading music and keeping time and like all the technical pieces. And then when I got into jazz, that's really for the first time, I think I really got to explore the creative, you know, the creativeness of music.
Yeah.
So like you can play music and it be more of a technical skill than it is even say you know, like a creative act.
Well, I think that's a really great point. I mean, the composition and the composer, like the instrumentalists are the tools for that composer. They're like, okay, for this song, I need, you know.
Yeah, Bach was saying for this track.
Yeah, Bach, Beethoven's this track right here, bro. No, I mean this like, oh, I need a ripping horn section for this song, or like this song is very melodic. I need some really great woodwinds. And so like, I think that's a good point. Like, yeah, technical instruments, like people who can play really fucking well, like they're important, but they are the vehicle for the composer to get their idea across.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's not that far from like, say, a development perspective, right? Like you have the people who are more like managerial development in terms of like engineering and like technology. You have like the engineering managers, the PMs, the product managers, like the, you know, your upper leadership. That's like more of like the strategic side. And then you have like the engineers, the senior, you know, level 6 engineer that's like really fucking good at writing code. And so like it's not that the high level is any less important or that it's just a different set of skills. And it's the same thing with composition.
Yeah. Yeah.
And can we take a moment to just appreciate how incredibly the genius behind creating work when you don't have a pad where you can just hear any sound?
Dude, I think, yes, it is so wild to me to think about just anyone in the world doing anything creative, like something from somebody's brain, just making it onto a page or a paper or anything like that. Like, I think that is creativity at its core. And like, there's so many people where they're like, oh, I'm not creative. Like, I'm not very creative. And it's like, everyone's creative in some way. I just don't necessarily think they know how they're creative. Dude, decorating a living room is creativity. Like, they have a vision for that. Like, dude, I hate to say it, like crafting a well-worded email is like, oh, you're pretty good with words. Like, you could maybe write. Like, who knows? I think, you know, I was blessed to grow up with like parents who were musical and creative, and they fostered that in me. You know, my dad was also an athlete, so like sports was a thing too. But I was like, nah, man, I'm going to go play the flute, which probably broke my dad's heart. But like, at the end of the day, he probably was like, I mean, my kid wants to be a musician maybe one day. So like, hell yeah. So like, I think fostering creativity in all facets is important. Yeah.
And I think, you know, we go through life and, well, actually, before I make this statement, I'm curious, in your, you know, what's your definition of creativity?
Oh, that is tough. Honestly, I think it's just taking something within your brain or your heart or your soul and bringing it into the world. Like, and however you choose to do that is what makes you creative. So like for some people, there's some people who play Call of Duty all day, right? Like I'm a gamer too. So it's like, there's people who play Call of Duty all day, but there's people who are really good at Call of Duty. And it's like having to come up with a quote unquote creative solution or create creative ways to win is like, dude, there's strategy. Dude, there are military generals who have to be creative in how they approach war, which is like not awesome, but like the creativity is everywhere. And I think like if you're thinking of something and then it manifests in real life, like that is creativity in action.
Yeah. Yeah. It also kind of irks me when someone's like, oh, I'm not creative. I'm like, but you are. Maybe there's creative in like a very obvious sense of like creating art or creating music. But I think to your point of like decorating a living room, like that in and of itself is creativity. I think if people started to perhaps recognize that there's creativity required for anything that is like creating something uniquely human, then perhaps that would help them massage that muscle or exercise that muscle just a little bit more and explore creativity in other ways.
Yeah. And I think you touched on something that I think is really a hot topic right now, which is uniquely human with AI these days. And like, there are ways to be creative with AI, like straight up, there just are. But if you're generating an image based on words that you came up with, it's like, I wouldn't call that creative. Not even the piece of art itself or whatever it's generating. Like, that's not creativity. That's like programming, which, I mean, you're the software guy. It's like, maybe that has some creativity, but in my head, like that is very like, there are laws, like this is how this is supposed to be typed out. And so to create something uniquely human, I think is going to be like so pivotal moving forward for everyone in their daily lives, because as AI takes over, it's going to be kind of important. And I think people are getting good at it pretty quickly of deciphering whether or not something is AI or isn't. I saw a video like yesterday and I was like, I did not know that was AI, but
Was it the car expo? Have you seen that video?
No, it's actually like, it's kind of funny. It's like this super racist meme where like this black kid walks into like a car dealership. It has to do with cars. And he's like, what's up? I'm Evan. I'm looking for a Toyota Camry. And then the sales guy's like, all right, Tyrone, here's your Dodge Charger. And it's like, dude, and it's like funny, right? It's hilarious.
That is
but like,
objectively funny.
It's objectively funny, but it's like, if I had just like, dude, I think about like my parents and like my dad would watch that and be like, this is real. Like, this is absolutely real. So like there is creativity in like someone came up with that joke and then put it into AI. That is creative.
Yes.
But like, so that's what I mean when it's like there are ways to be creative with it, but I think it's going to be more important than ever moving forward.
100%. Because I think about the way that I choose to, it's about the choice. How do you leverage AI? Because I think and that choice comes down to both a technical specification of how to use it. So like, what are the areas of my life that could potentially be optimized by AI? But also like I don't know if this is an ethical way, but it's almost more of like a humanist way of like, what are the areas that I want and feel that AI should be a part of my life, right? Like the example I like to think about is like, I use ChatGPT, for things that make sense. A lot of people use ChatGPT, and I'll get back to what making sense even means. But you see people who like post screenshots of a conversation with a partner, and they're like, how do I respond to this text? And it's like, while AI may be able to craft a response that is seemingly empathetic, that is seemingly something that would be desirable by your partner, and perhaps they're sharing prior messages with this person, so they get a sense for how does your partner actually respond, receive, and also share, to get a better sense of like how to deal with that individual. But the reality is, I don't believe that's an area, while AI may be able to craft a better response than you can organically, I don't feel it's a way that it should, because your relationship with another human is about the human connection. And like, I don't think that's changing, or maybe that's like the old, like, I don't want to live in a world, or I certainly wouldn't want my relationships with people to be something where like they're operating and communicating with me through the lens of an AI. Like, I don't want to, connect. However, perhaps for a business meeting, a response to an email prompt that you say, you regurgitate your thoughts and say, make this a clear, concise email, that's different, because the purpose of it is to save time and craft a concise, succinct response that is professional. But I don't want something super rigid and professional. I don't work in a super corporate environment. Yeah. I'm a freelancer. So I want something that sounds like my voice, but like only in the sense that it's like more or less casual, but it saves time. My point is, I think when you think about like how AI influences us, or the ways that we choose to leverage AI, it's like, should it be used? I believe it should be used in ways where it is optimizing for like a technological gap that computers are better than human beings at. So whether that's writing code or editing podcast software, like this software, when it uploads anything, it just like automatically creates snippets for social media. It automatically creates like edits and trims, like, hey, I'm talking, so like the camera's going to be on me, and then once it hears your voice, it'll switch the camera to you, and then when we're talking over each other, whatever. Like, there obviously needs to be trimming, but like, I 100% want to use AI for that, because that significantly reduces the amount of time I spend editing.
Yeah.
So going back to your point about the AI generated video, if there's, I think the power of AI or technology as a whole is like when there's a gap between your skill as a human and your idea as a creative, AI can fill that void and create something that stems from a human desire, a human creative act, a human emotion, but it's able to go through the technical minutia that's more formulaic, as you mentioned earlier about, there's sort of frameworks and processes that you go through, whatever. Yeah. So I think that's a great, exceptional use case of AI. And I'm curious to hear about how AI kind of touches your sort of production process. But I think, there is creativity required for that specific example, because you as a human have to ideate what you want that artificial intelligence to actually create for you. But you don't want to necessarily go through like all the technical minutia.
Dude, and that I think is exactly it. Like, that person that made that AI generated video is like, I don't know how to create this. I know what would make it funny.
Yeah.
And so they're using AI as a means to get their joke across in a funny way, right? And yeah, I mean, AI, as far as like your skill gaps, like I'm a project manager in my corporate life, and I'm studying, it's what is it called? Like CPM AI. It's my cognitive project management in artificial intelligence. So like, I know some shit sometimes, right? And it's like, I think business, like there is a time and place for AI in business and corporate settings, but you're absolutely right. If you're asking AI how you should respond to your boyfriend or girlfriend, like that, you're basically telling on yourself. Like, I don't know my partner well enough to know how to respond to this.
Yes.
And so I'm now asking a non-sentient being. Like, it's one thing to ask your friends for advice. And I think people are like, they're fine. Like, they're treating AI like a friend, which, okay, I think there's some danger there. But like, if I swear to God, if I was asking ChatGPT how to like respond to my girlfriend in an argument, I'm already cooked, dude. Like, It's already done. Yes. Like, just give up and be like, babe, I'm sorry. I don't really know what to say to that. And I think that's another thing, being able to say like, I don't know what to say to that.
Yes.
Like, and that's a whole different like philosophy on relationships in general. But
I think in a business sense that also holds true, right? Like what's better, to wear Ray-Ban Meta glasses where you get there's a conversation with a prospect and they ask a question that you can't field off the top of your head, but you have these glasses that project literally in front of your eyes the response. Is that better than saying, I'm not sure, let me get back to you on that?
Yeah. I don't have enough information to make an informed opinion or response.
Which is a valid response in of itself.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think more people need to use it.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to know everything. And I think so many people these days, and I don't know whether it's just the pressure of like, no one wants to feel stupid, right? But not knowing doesn't make you stupid. It just means you don't know. And you're literally saying, I don't have enough information. Maybe you can explain a little bit more in detail. What context am I missing? And I think that's maybe just an emotional maturity type of thing, but also, yeah, dude, on a like larger, more broad thing, I think all these tech companies are like making shit that no one asked for.
Yeah.
And so like AI, we all knew it was coming. It's been around for a long time, but I think that there is some truth to the matter of like needing certain things. There's some things that like we need. Like again, AI, no one asked for it, I don't think, but like certainly like boomers didn't ask for AI generated content of, you know, Donald Trump and Biden fighting each other in a boxing ring, like, and thinking it's real. But like, I think there's a need for it in certain contexts, but in other contexts, I think it's a real inhibitor of creativity, bringing it all the way back. Yeah. So House started in Chicago, and for, you know, Black queer people, like that's what it was made for. That's what it is. And so techno started in Detroit. Same situation there. And so because that music is inherently Black music, it sucks to see techno. Maybe there's a gray area, right? Because like people associate techno with Germany, even though they're wrong. It's Detroit. But Germany has its own style that emerged around the same time, but not really. So I think like it sucks to see white people dominate the field of Black music in every facet, dude. It's been Elvis. It's been going on since then, which Elvis is great. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't become popular. And I think rap is unique in that you do have famous white rappers, but the majority of rappers that people are listening to are Black men and women. So it's like, back to house music, the most popular house music artists are John Summit, Fisher, Chris Lake, and then you have, and Sammy Vergie, and then you have Carl Cox, which everyone will acknowledge is a legend. But that's 1 out of 5. And for every John Summit, you know, there's an equal and opposite Black artist out there that could be getting put on but isn't. And that sucks. So in that situation, my hot take was, I think a lot more Black people need to be making house music and stop trying to be the next Travis Scott and really get into the soul of it. Dude, and the same thing can be said for jazz.
I'm glad you brought it there because I was curious to hear your take on jazz.
Like, it's the same thing. Dude, my best friend from back home, like, he's a tremendous saxophone player and drummer. Dude, he's listening to Charlie Parker and, like, fucking playing bebop. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. But it's always the nerdy white kids playing and listening to jazz these days. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's not mainstream, but it was for a while. Yeah. And, like, now that it's not, I do obviously know that there's a ton of wonderful Black musicians doing wonderful things and getting the recognition they deserve. And I'm not trying to say that white people shouldn't also be getting the recognition they deserve. I'm just saying, like, there are so many people consuming this culture with no knowledge of where it came from and not understanding, like, this is disproportionate.
Yeah.
Like,
and on the flip side, there's so many people who are unaware of the culture where it's, like, historically embedded in who they are and where they come from.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So, yeah, I mean, and I think we got on the topic of, like, I make the whitest dance music, which is progressive house and trance. And, like, but I've been experimenting, right? Like, doing more, like, not UKG, but just bouncier house music. And, like, that's what I want to do as an artist. It's, like, be put on. But, like, my brand of progressive house is very gospel and jazzy. And, like, that's what I love doing. And that is, like, Black culture. And so early in my career, I would get some signings, but later when I was trying to reach and sign to some bigger labels, they're like, oh, you know, man, these chords just aren't doing it for me. Like, they're kind of unorthodox. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, I'm hitting some blue notes out here. Like, and that's okay. Like, but just because I'm throwing some, like, fucking weird progressions your way, that doesn't make it, like, bad. And do you even know where this comes from? Like, and then I had to stop and be like, no, like, they just don't get it. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of at the precipice of this moment in my career where I'm like, I might just say fuck it and just stop trying to appease labels and be like, oh, I got to follow this formula. Like, if I do this weird chord, they might not like it. Like, no, like, I'm at this point now. my career. Like, I'm just going to be black and do my jazz and gospel shit and like do what I want to do, you know? And if no one signs it, fuck them. That sucks for them.
Yeah. This actually came up with earlier today. It's an interesting position that you're in, because there's really no way to win in a sense, because it's like if you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? If you make a follow the chord progressions that are expected, follow sort of the framework that's been paved before you, while it may appease certain people and it may appease the labels, what ends up happening is like your audience is going to recognize that doesn't come from your sound, that isn't your sound, that isn't uniquely you, that isn't unique perhaps, and they're going to not like it. So it's kind of like, well, it feels like even you're making a decision for yourself, but it also, it sort of ensures that you're at least going to have an authentic sound, right? And while that may not be initially appealing to the masses and you're going to have to grow in order to get to the masses, perhaps it's like, well, yeah, but you only get to the masses if you have a really unique and authentic sound. But part of the reason why it starts small is because it's different.
Dude, it's this catch-22.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when I first started out, I was making tracks that were like really fucking jazzy. Like I listen back to them, I'm like, damn, this is like jazz progressive house. And then as I've gotten later into my career, like you listen to a couple of my latest, like maybe not the last 2 or 3, but like there's like a middle portion in there, like 2021, 2022, 23, where I'm making like, I'm not going to call it basic. It still has my voice in there, but it's not like, it's safe. It's safe music where it's like, but then it's like, dude, even some of that shit I'm making isn't getting signed. So it's like, but I'm not going to put out something I don't like. I'm not even going to make something I don't like. That's why I don't do sync licensing. Because it's like, dude, I'm not going to make music for this commercial. Like, I don't give a shit about this. And like, there are people that out there that like, that's their gig. It makes them money. Great for them. But like, I think I have fans who connect with me. And one of my things is like, I don't have fans. I have friends. Like if you fuck with my music, we're friends. You're not a fan. And so it's like, I have friends out there who really love what I do and everything I put out. And there's so many people that like, just make me feel so good and make me feel like I'm on the right path that it has empowered me to this point to be like, I don't give a fuck if the label, like, dude, I know these 15 people are going to fuck with this track. And like, that's enough for me. I don't need to be playing the main stage at EDC. I don't need to. And that's how I define success is, did I impact somebody with this song? Yeah. If it's even one person who messages me, it's like, dude, I love this song. Then like, that's really all I needed, out of the whole endeavor. So that's why I do it.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's a big driver behind like wanting to do this and talk to people, is just like, I'm so enamored by people who are able to have that mentality of like, nah, this is for me. Who gives a fuck? It's for me. And in that, it's for so many other people, but like it genuinely is for other people. It's not perception of other people.
Yeah. I mean, DJing today is like, when I started DJing, like there was a lot of DJs, but there wasn't that many DJs. It wasn't that big of a thing at the time. And I started DJing in the era where like, dude, Skrillex was like just starting. Dude, like Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites had just come out. 2000, like I think it was 2010.
Yeah, I was gonna say 09, 10, something like that.
Dude, and I remember being like a sophomore in college at this house party, and this like, dude, one of the whitest kids I know, we called him McLovin, dude. And he goes, dude, have you heard of Skrillex? And I'm like, no. He's like, do you know what dubstep is? I was like, no. And he's like, don't you love like electronic music? I'm like, yeah, but like I'm into like the Crystal Method and like some more like breakbeat type shit. And he's like, oh, well, check this shit out. And he puts on like Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. And I was like, this is the worst shit I've ever heard in my whole life. What the fuck is this? Turn it off. And then like suddenly I'm starting to hear more dubstep. And I'm like, all right, like, I think it was just, I had never heard anything like it before.
Yeah.
And so my initial reaction, because I like more housey, bouncy stuff traditionally.
Like
I hear
melodic
dubstep.
too,
Yeah, I hear dubstep, and I'm like, this isn't music. This is just noise.
Yeah.
That's like what everyone says, right?
Yes.
And then like dubstep kind of birthed. I'm not gonna say birthed, but like trap came to be a thing.
Yeah.
And I fucking love hip hop and rap. So like once trap came out, I was like, all right, this is kind of like dubstep, but it's not. This is more hip hop with dubstep elements. And dude, I to this day fuck with trap all day. Dude, if I'm driving like down the highway and I'm like trying to get home quick, I'll throw on some like Ricky Sand, like throw on some trap.
Let's take rap and its lyrical genius and blend it with way better beats. Like, I'm sorry, but
Dude,
like fucking 808 shit, like it gets boring. And like, I get it, you're focusing on the lyrics more than you are, but at the same time, it's like, why not just throw some funky sploinky shit in there?
Yeah, some hoinky sploinky, dude. And I think that's such a good point. So like that's why the Jack U, Skrillex and Diplo, dude, that song fucking Febreze with 2 Chainz is so good. And it's like a perfect blend of all of that, like culture. Dude, and I remember thinking back to Diplo when he came out with that song Bubble Butt. I was like, okay, dude, we're in there. We're in there. Like, cause that was like Paris Hilton was like the shit back in the day. And then like Kim K came out of nowhere and was like, it's okay to have a big ass and curves. And then I was like, we in there, like, dude. And then that song came out and I was like, who the fuck is like Diplo? And that's when I learned he was in Major Lazer and all this other stuff. And it's like seeing black culture, like rap, mixed with dubstep and then become this thing. And now we got 2 Chainz on Skrillex tracks. And now Skrillex, dude, he's making all types of shit now. Right. And like, I do consider him the GOAT. Yeah. Like him and Deadmau5 are like in their respective arenas,
100%
GOATs. And so, yeah, dude, I don't remember even how we got on this path.
I don't know either, but I don't care. Isn't it so funny how like jarring, whether like, I don't know if dubstep was probably like the first genre of EDM that I came across that I was like, I feel like I like dubstep, but like heavy bass shit. And you want to know one that I can't get into? I was going to say those are the ones that were the most jarring. I can't get into psytrance. Like the it's just like, it's so much. And it does still feel a bit like noise to me. Like it hasn't quite gone over that. I don't think I've done enough drugs to appreciate psytrance. nor do I think I ever will.
Yeah. Psytrance is one of those weird ones. It's the same way for me. Like I don't dislike psytrance. It's good. It's like a nice what do you like? I don't know. If trance is the salad, right? Like psytrance
is the fucking food fight.
It's like the accoutrement. I don't know what the fuck they call it. Like the nuts and the cranberries on top of the salad.
Exactly. I'm fucking deathly allergic to nuts. That's equally unpalatable.
Like I like I can get into some psytrance, but it's like a small doses thing for me.
I feel like the more metaphors you're coming up with, the more it's
the worse. The picture. Yeah, the worse it is
more, but it's more accurate.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, I've got a buddy who makes psytrance. His name's SK. Denver guy. He's fucking awesome at it, and the psytrance he makes is so good. And but I like listen.
So I got to talk to him.
Yes, he's great, dude. And
changed
then
my mind.
I listen to his tracks. And I'm like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I still couldn't listen to an hour of this. Like I just couldn't. And like I will tell you, I've always loved drum and bass. Like that's another one for certain people where they can't get into it.
Yeah.
But like, dude, as a kid growing up playing video games. Dude, drum and bass and breakbeat is in like every racing game of all time. And so, dude, Need for Speed Most Wanted has for PS2, I'll never forget that shit, has so much drum and bass in it. Yeah. And like Jen, my girlfriend, she's like, how long have you been listening to drum and bass? I was like, as long as I can fucking play Ridge Racer on PlayStation.
Oh,
like,
Ridge Racer, wow.
Dude, like, seriously. So, yeah.
And that's a great framing of like it's palatable in small doses, because I do think that now that I think about it, psytrance, like it can get me pretty amped. Like drum and bass, I can fucking bump to, and anything that gives you the opportunity to do one of the best exercises on the planet.
Dude.
Moshing.
Yeah. Oh. No.
Dude.
Not for me at all, dude.
I love a mosh.
Dude, and that gets me to my most hated genre. Fucking rhythm, dude.
What is that?
Dude, rhythm, it's the worst shit on planet Earth. Like, oh my God. It, like, when I think about what noise is, it's that.
Like a cacophony of.
Well, dude, and
is it like spacey sounds, like lasers, guns? What type of like sounds are they?
It is just the harshest, like, non-rhythmic. Like, I guess it's rhythmic, right? Like, but it's just kick on 1, snare on 3, a bunch of bullshit, and that's the whole song.
Do
Like,
you have examples of a
dude, okay,
song?
probably the biggest one I would say, and I don't even know if this is right because I don't listen to this shit, but like Sullivan King and Sudden Death. Like, I think Sudden Death has an incredible brand, and like his whole thing is like this demonic, satanic shit, which is like, so, it makes some people uncomfortable. He's an artist.
Yeah.
That's the way he chooses to express himself. So his like Void shows, I watch videos of that and I'm like, I could see why people would be into this. I don't like the music, but it's a show, right? It's a whole thing.
Right.
And so I can get it. It's not fucking for me. I would never be caught there. But like, it's like this just, dude, do look it up, but don't. Rhythm is like...
Do you listen? Do you know the song Dragonhawks?
No.
Okay, it sounds like Dragonhawks, but not so much like I like Dragonhawks. To be clear, I forget the artist off the top of my head, but it has a very like death kind of like you can't defeat the Dragonhawks. Like that's like the
It's kind of stuff like that, but like. It
a little more like harsh.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
It's very harsh, dude. And like for me, again, I like jazz, I like chords, I like melody, and there just isn't any of that in that music.
There is sort of this like on one end you have like just the like classical music, right? Or I don't know, perhaps opera or something where it's just like intentional, beautiful melodies with percussion that serves as a I don't know, like the undertone, the beat, and a little bit of, you know, sprinkles on top. But it's really about like the melodies, and then like you kind of progress through like jazz and then rock, and then you get to more like aggressive, heavy shit, and then at the far end of the spectrum, it's just like noise, and that's where I feel like the psytrance is. But like the jazz, you know what I mean? And like the what did you even call it again? Rhythm. So it's like rhythm, but like you rhythm
with two D's. Rhythm.
RIDDUM.
RIDDIM. I don't necessarily know its origins. I think it comes from like somewhere in Jamaica. Like, to be honest,
Well, that sounds right. Like,
I know like dub and all that shit. Like, it's got those roots, but like rhythm, what it is today, like, dude, I just like it is straight up mosh pit, like aggressive headbang type shit. But it's
That's
not.
how we got on
it's
this,
not headbang. Like, okay, I'm gonna maybe like out myself as like a basic metalhead. I'm not a metalhead, but like I fucking love Killswitch Engage. It's like heavy, right? I'm not gonna call that metal, but it's heavy. But he's got melody in there. He's a fantastic fucking singer, and like I can take the heavy with the melody, which is why I like dubstep.
Right.
But like once you take all the melody out and it's just the heavy,
Yes.
like some people, anything that someone's like, I need the grimiest, filthiest, most disgust. Yeah, miss me with all that, dude. I don't need any of that to describe the music I listen to. Like, period.
So how would you describe the music you listen to?
Dude, I think it depends. I mean, it really does depend. Dude, my mood changes so often. I will like listen to like Disturbed, right? And I think my mom has like the most eclectic musical tastes on the planet. Like, she's the one that got me into dance music, listening to the Crystal Method, I think I mentioned earlier, dude, that the Tweekend album came out, and it was like my first foray into like electronic music, but not really, because video games,
Right.
dude, fighting games, dude, if you go back and play some old Street Fighter games, dude, they're playing house music in that shit, and it's like, that was kind of like my first foray into it. But then I started to get more into like rock and roll. My dad's a rock singer and like all of this stuff. But I think right now, all the music I listen to is at the very least melodic.
Yeah.
Like whether it's like a bass line is melodic. Like UKG is the wave. House is the wave. I love the only type of stuff I can't really get into is like, and I respect him and his label, but like the Lane 8, This Never Happened, people are going to really come for me for that. But like,
You got to move out of Denver.
I
After that
know,
shit, bro.
dude. Like, it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and call it bad music. I think Riddick's bad music. But I think it's inherently good music. I opened for Lane 8 in 2013.
No shit.
In Columbus, Ohio. It was one of his first This Never Happened shows at Park Street Saloon with my buddy Entel, who I just played with in Columbus last weekend, actually. And like the shows, like the club environment is awesome. I will say like the This Never Happened shows are fucking baller.
With like no phones and things
Exactly.
like that. Yeah.
I think there needs to be more of those.
100%.
But like, am I going to go and just like listen to Lane 8 while I'm in the car? Probably not. But
Do you listen to, so none of that? Like you wouldn't listen to like Sultan and Shepherd. You wouldn't listen
I
to
fuck
like
with
Ember.
Sultan and Shepherd.
Really?
Dude, they played my music on their radio shows, and I like it, but it's like, again, in a club setting, like, is this going to be my preferred?
Oh, sorry. So you're only talking about a club setting, not just like in general.
Even in general,
Okay,
dude.
yeah,
And
that's what I
maybe
thought
it's
you meant.
because I'm a DJ that I'm really looking for music I would be playing or listening to in a club setting. If I want to just listen to music, dude, I'm listening to synthwave and lo-fi all day, every day.
While working or just while sitting and enjoying the music?
Both.
Really?
Yeah.
Can you paint me a picture of like the most ideal performance you could ever do for a crowd?
So, yeah, like today, actually, I just posted my first headline set from Idaho Falls. I put it up on YouTube and SoundCloud. And like, I used to play a lot of bass music. Like, I used to go by Black Rabbit in Columbus. That was my first DJ name. And I was playing dubstep. I was playing trap because that's what was hot in Ohio. That's still what's hot in Ohio. That's where Lost Lands is. And like, I loved it. I really did. But I always found myself making the deeper progressive, like dead mouse type of progressive house. And I was like, well, like, I can't really put both of these in a set, especially not here in Columbus. And then, you know, as I've matured as an artist and gotten more involved in different genres, that headline set, I listened back. Dude, I go from playing Tin Liquor to playing my own tracks to like some Nora and Pure.
Wow.
And then I drop into like some Feed Me. And then I start playing Boombox Cartel. And then it's like that, like future bass meets progressive house. I would love to start a set at like 126 and play some deep progressive vibes and eventually work my way up into like 130 electro house, like old Porter Robinson, and then get up to 140 and play some fucking trap and then bring it back down and play. So like in that set, I got up to like, I stayed around like 128, 130, but I played some like bass music in there. I played some bass house. And it's like, for me, like that's my ideal set. But when I play here in Denver, it's not a headline set, first of all. So I can't play trap. And it's like, if I could.
What about in terms of like setting? Like where would you want it to be?
Dude, I think that answer has changed. I actually thought about this morning. You know, I would love to play a massive festival, right? I think that is a bucket list item. It used to be the dream. But now I think it's just a bucket list item because I played with Paul Van Dyke at the church a couple months ago. and it was an opening set from 10 to 11, and it was sold out, and it packed by like 10:15. The floor was full, and so I had to like sit with that on stage and be like, this is fucking crazy, dude. I'm playing an opening set and it's already full, and because of that, I got everything I needed. It was like, this room is full. I'm playing to a bunch of people who are vibing out, having a good time. And so that size room, I think, is perfect.
Quality over quantity.
Dude, seriously, like if you're going to EDC and you're going to play the main stage, like that is an experience. But I have so many friends who tour and they all say like, I love a festival set, but there's nothing like an intimate club set.
100%.
And they all say that, all of them. And so I have to know, like, I have that here. And so I need to appreciate it while I have it. And of course, I'm going to keep striving to play in other spaces. But like having a good intimate club spot, I think is like, that's all I need, man. Like, I don't need more than that. And some people are trying to like, dude, Disclosure just played Realworks.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably tired of playing these like Coachella and shit. They're like, let's go back to like where the people are here for the music, you know?
Which is funny they chose Realworks. But
I like Realworks.
dude, I feel like Realworks is where you go if you want to party, and Mission's where you want to go if you want to listen to good music. Like, if you care about the artist. The amount of cocaine I feel like that I've witnessed at Realworks is like significantly greater than Mission. But I tend not to be close to that substance, so like I don't know, maybe it is happening at Mission and I'm just like oblivious to it. But
it's happening everywhere. Okay. But I will say Realworks lends itself to be, it's kind of dark and warehousey, which I like. But Mission, dude, Mission's the best venue I've ever been to in my life.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever been to Atlanta?
No. I mean, I've been there, not for music, but
we have a venue called the Eastern, which is also AEG, and it's basically the same exact thing as Mission, and it's phenomenal. It's like, I mean, it's phenomenal in a different way than, say, the Gorge or Red Rocks is, right?
Yeah.
Like, those are venues that are iconic and clearly have, like, well, there's, like, natural beauty and there's, like, sound, you know, beauty, like, impressive amps that are from fucking rocks and gorges and shit. It's amazing. That's a whole nother level. But in terms of, like, purely a manufactured venue and its ability to, like, attract artists and create just, like, a fucking phenomenal environment that's clean, easy, logistically great.
Dude, the Gorge is like, it is so wonderful. That is such a beautiful place.
I've actually never been.
Dude, you gotta do it.
I know. I love Washington. I went there. I guess I was just there I was there for the first time in March, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck in the summer, so be aware. But like, dude, pick like
where is it in Washington?
George Washington.
Do you know where that is?
No, it's somewhere out in their desert, dude.
Oh, it's desert. Okay, so it's pretty dry. It's not
very dry.
Washington.
No,
okay,
it's super hot, super dry. But there's that big like river that runs behind the stage, like off a cliff, and you can see it from it, dude. It's gorgeous. It's insane.
It's gorgeous.
But it's gorgeous. Yes, exactly. But I've gone for a group therapy weekender. Hey, yeah. That's fucking amazing. I did not expect that. No, dude, I went for a group therapy weekender twice and saw Above and Beyond and a bunch of the Anjuna artists there. And like, dude, that's another fucking thing about dance music culture is it's like, I made like a reel about like why I left bass music, and I mentioned rhythm because that was where the genre was going, but I also mentioned the culture, dude. The like percentage of DJs who get canceled being bass DJs is like, it's most of them.
For what?
For being abusers and assholes and just like bad people.
Got it.
Like Bass Nectar is probably the one that most people know. Datsick is another one most people know. Graves was one of my favorite future bass artists, and when it came out that he like got canceled, I was like, what? No, just be a good guy. Like, it's not that hard to not be a dickhead and like put women in scenarios they don't want to be in. Yeah. Like, it's not hard. Just don't do that. And so yeah, the culture of it. And it's like, if you go to a bass show here, it's typically a younger crowd. And so they don't know how to drink. They don't know how to hold their drugs. They don't know how to do shit. And so my middle-aged, I'm 34, but like mid-30s now, I'm in here and I'm like, dude, look at how drunk that kid is over there. Like in public, dude, like it's one thing if you're at your house fucked up, like, but in public, and then that's like widespread. I can't even go to a bass show without like, again, there being a mosh pit, which is like part of their culture, which is why I buy VIP. I'm not going to like, yeah, if I'm buying GA, I expect to be in a mosh pit. But like, I don't know, man. And then I go to like Anjuna events or just deep house, this never happened type shit. Those events, it's typically an older crowd.
Yeah.
People are hanging out, having a little bit of conversation. It's a vibe. It's a vibe. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older, but like I went to go see Nero at the church.
Nice.
I think this was like 2 years ago. And like, it was kind of funny because there was like a section in the back where you could tell we were all like old Nero fans, like back in their, like the 2013, 2012 era, like old Nero. And we were all in the back because we were like, we don't want to be up there with that. And like the direct support DJ, I don't even remember his name. It's fine. Bro, he was playing the biggest tear out rhythm, dude. And it's just like the most aggressive shit. And I'm like, I want to see Nero, but I don't want to be in this crowd. Like, I like the music, but I don't want to be around these people. And so I just kind of reserved myself to being like, I'm just not going to go to bass music shows, which sucks. Like, I like Excision. Like, I fuck with Excision, but like, I went to Lost Lands and I hated it. And so it's like, I don't know, man.
You are just old and crotchety.
I think so. I think so.
But I get it at the same time. I'm kidding. Like I think it's I do find myself in certain environments. I really like the high energy and like the moshing, right? Like in fact, I think moshing is something I don't have in my life frequently enough to where like I would ever come across it and not explore it.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like I go to many shows where it's there. I go to many shows where I hope it's there because I don't get to scratch that itch all that often.
Yeah.
And
you fucking love rhythm shows, dude.
But I also need to like the music too, you know, like,
yeah.
Do you listen to like Knock 2 or,
yes.
ISOXO?
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen ISOXO twice, and like moshing and Knock 2, I think once, and like moshing at their shows are just amazing.
Dude. And Knock 2, I got a long LP promo in my promo inbox. And typically, like, it's not something I would download. You know what promos are, right?
No.
So promos are like DJs or their team will send out their music in advance, 60 days, 30 days, 90 days. And you get it for DJs that you have selected to have it, and they can play it out or give feedback or whatever. Not remix. It's just like you have the song before it comes out.
Oh, cool.
So Knock 2 was actually in my promo, like on In-Flight, and I was like, oh, I fuck with Knock 2. And I listened to the whole thing, and I was like, I'm downloading every single one of these. And it's like, I'm not going to play these live, not as Discognition, but like, yeah. I like this music, and maybe I'll be able to find a space where I can play this stuff. And like that level of music, dude, that's good shit. 100%. He's got incredible music.
I think he's LA.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, I fuck with that bass music. I fuck with that a lot. And and sometimes I miss making it, but like,
but I think that's kind of an interesting distinction there, which is where you have the music that you enjoy listening to, which is probably a really broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Especially given your background. But then you have the music you like creating, and that's something that tends to be more specific.
Yeah.
It's like a blend of skills, past, musical experience that lend itself well to what you're trying to do, and then just like general, like, yeah, what do you like? Maybe some others.
Yeah. But, and like, not to keep bringing it up, but like with rhythm,
keep on fucking shitting on it, dude.
No, actually, this is a good thing about rhythm.
Okay,
so like back when it was like first really making a wave into it, it was about the sound design, right? It was just noise, but like someone was making those sounds in a synth. And then it was like, okay, how the fuck did you make that sound? And so a lot of these sound design guys were like, how the fuck? Like, this is crazy shit that this guy's making. And like, but now you have like Splice. And
Right.
so with Splice, people are just downloading patches with whatever sound it is, downloading like a drum loop, and then putting like a SpongeBob, I'm ready, right before the fucking drop. And then it just drops into this crazy fucking shit, which is like, okay. And like, so it used to be like, I think there was a culture behind it. It was like these sound design guys, and it was like, let me show you some shit that I made. But now it's just like the lowest barrier of entry, because like it's not complex drum wise. It's not, there's no melody. So it's not complex, like technically, musically. It's just sound patches that somebody has put in a way that they throw it into Ableton, and then they export a 2.5 minute rhythm track, and then they're like, okay, book me for EDC. And so, yeah, I think it used to be a really like a healthy piece of the culture, and then it turned into just something I hated, and that's all. I'll leave it at that. I'm tired of sitting on rhythm. I'm sorry, but like,
no, but I think I honestly though, I feel like that you're not shitting on rhythm, you're shitting on a shift in, honestly, technology and creation.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like rhythm when it's kind of like, even if you don't like the art, you can almost appreciate that it's art. You know, and you can appreciate someone for creating it. But once it just becomes like an output or something that loses like the like craft,
yes,
then it's like, oh, well, now it's no longer like it was cool because it was a craft.
Yeah.
It's like if you make a fucking, you know, hand carved wooden table that's not all that sophisticated but functions well and looks good, you're like, oh, I appreciate that table. But then if like IKEA creates that exact same table and you're just it's like a piece of shit, it's gonna break in a year, it's like you don't really appreciate it for the craft anymore. You're just like, all right, that's kind of a utility and I get why it's there. So like if you just want to fucking you know, it's like there's a serving of purpose if you just want to mosh as a utility, and there you go, and it's accessible and easy, but it lacks the craftsmanship.
Yeah, and you know, I think, and that's again goes back to our earlier discussion, is like unique sound, like your voice, and like I don't hear it in any rhythm, but that's not to say that there isn't voice or sound within that. If I was a connoisseur, I'd be able to tell.
Right.
Like, for example, dude, when Marsh, like with Anjuna Deep, when one of his tracks comes on, I know it's him. Simon Doty's another guy like that. Like Knox Vaughn, another guy like that. And it's like, I'm sure that exists in that realm, but I don't spend any time in that realm on purpose. And so like, I will say that I can acknowledge and appreciate that there's a wealth of people out there who love that stuff. And I stay in this lane because it's what I enjoy.
100%.
So
yeah, and that unique sound, I like that point, because I think it's sort of like, I love Ben Bomer, one of my favorite artists of all time. It's just a fucking beautiful I don't even know how to say what I want to say. He's just amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. He's just amazing. And his music is so uniquely his. Like when he released, I think Bloom was his most recent album. When it came out, I remember just running through it so many times and like, oh, this is just magical, and this is so Benjamin. Yeah. Oh, Ben. Oh, Ben. You. Yes. Oh, you. But the on the flip side, let's explore what happened with Rufus Du Sol and their demise. They sort of like crossed this line where like it almost felt like when they released their most recent album, and this is the second time I'm shitting on them and fucking 4 shows. So I don't care.
You got to do it.
100%. It's deserved. It sounded like they just said to some AI, here's our past discography, here's the sounds that we use, create an album based on that. So it's not really unique. You're not really coming up with like creative, interesting, unique ways to stitch together your sound and make music. It's just like, oh, that's just your sound. I'm curious, like your thoughts. Like, is that the right way to understand that concept? Do you think that's what's happening? Is it just like you're just using your sound for you? Like, where does that? Why did I have that emotional reaction to their shit? And I'm like, why did you do that to me, Rufus? Unfollow on Instagram.
Yeah.
Unfollow, unlike your songs on Spotify. Boo.
So, I will get into it, and I think here you bring up a really, really interesting point about artists and pushing their limits or exploring different sounds. Why do I think Rufus's new album sounds like AI trying to make them rather than something that they've done, right? I think that the answer to that is Spotify. Like, the answer is because, I mean, it's Rufus, right? People are going to listen regardless, but
not everyone.
Well, okay.
And like, just to be clear, like I have a Rufus record. I have a shirt. I'm like I have been a big Rufus fan. I saw them in my hometown. I saw them in their hometown. Like I've been able, like they're not a band that I was like, I liked. I was like, fuck, they're so good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like, well, and we can get into this a little bit later, but streaming has forever changed the landscape of not only how music is made, how it's consumed, but the creative process. And so Rufus might have been like,
question.
yeah,
How has Spotify changed the creative process? Like, I get that if new technology and tools are introduced, that may change the process. But like, it feels like that's a tech thing more than it is like a Spotify thing.
yeah. So I think it's maybe not
tooling.
They didn't change the creative process, but they have certainly changed. Here's a good example. And this is getting a little bit like DJ technical on it, but like extended mixes, right? An extended mix was meant for DJs. It was like you got a minute. Well, actually, even going further back, an extended mix was like just exactly how it sounds. An extended mix. Like, I'm taking this 5-minute track, and I couldn't say everything I needed to say in 5 minutes, so here's a 7-minute version.
Right.
Now, an extended mix, I shouldn't even say now. 5 years ago, an extended mix was like, okay, you get a minute for intro and a minute for outro so that DJs can easily mix in and out of it. That's purely what they were for. I can't tell you I learned that because I was making my extended mixes like, oh, it's a little something extra. Like, here's some nice melody in the intro that you won't get in the radio edit. And they're like, hey, can you take all that out? And I'm like, oh, shit. And so, like, now, dude, you get like a 3-minute extended mix. And the way that Spotify has changed that is...
So 3 minutes total.
Yeah. An extended mix being 3 minutes is horseshit. That's just a radio edit. Exactly.
Mix.
That's just a radio edit. And I'm getting in my promos.
What is a radio edit?
So a radio edit is like a version that you would play on the radio. I know that sounds like really condescending, but like
I get that. Like, I understand that as a concept, but technically, does it mean that it's a specific duration? Does it mean it's not explicit?
So a radio edit would be like, if there's a minute intro of drums, not much melody going on, a radio edit would maybe start at the bridge, or like not the bridge, but like right where the vocals come in.
The intro to something.
Exactly. Yeah. So it shortens the song to the important parts. But the reason why that's important is because a stream only counts on Spotify if someone listened to it for 30 seconds or more. And so from there, if your track is 7 minutes long, how many times are people going to listen to that whole thing?
Oh, right. So if it's 2 minutes, but they listen to 3 of them, then you're getting 3x the streams.
Correct. So that's part one. The second platform to change it is TikTok. Because now, dude, even at clubs, people will have all this energy for like 15 seconds. And then like as soon as that drop has hit and come, like people stop moving around. And so attention spans are now shortened. And so the genre that I'm in, trance and long progressive house, it's like, dude, they don't have the attention span to listen to a minute long buildup for that payoff of a drop. Like, they need that shit right now.
Right.
And so then TikTok has now fed into Spotify. It's like a what do you call that shit? Oh my God. Like a feedback loop.
Yeah.
So now people are now putting songs on Spotify that are even shorter to appease the TikTok audience. And it's like it just keeps happening. And so to bring back to Rufus, people are now putting out safe music that can be put on in the background, or something that isn't necessarily like taking any risks, because they have to appease the Spotify algorithms to say like, oh, if we take too much of a risk here, Spotify may not put it in their editorial playlists, and then we'll get less streams, which means we'll get less money, which means we'll get less exposure, all these things. And so I haven't personally listened to Rufus's latest album, but Ben Bomer, I love Ben Bomer. Me and Jen is obsessed with him. Like, he's her favorite artist.
I knew you picked well. She seems like a cool gal.
She's a super cool gal, and I did pick well.
Seconds of engaging with her.
But dude, we drove up to Aspen to see him play at Belly Up.
Sick.
And it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. And then we drove back from Aspen the next day to watch him play again at Red Rocks to open for Bob Moses. And it was
that the 5 with Cree and the other?
So with Cree and Kurian,
yeah,
which shout out Momiji, she's a super homie of mine. That was at Mission. I was also at that show. Another one of the best shows I've ever been to. But his latest album, neither one of us liked it. And it's just, it's so indie and so accessible. Whereas like Ben Bomer inherently is accessible music. But the latest album was just, it wasn't dance music to me. It was just, it was more of an indie album. And I can still sit here and say, I love Ben Bomer and not like that album. And I think Rufus is probably in a similar boat where it's like, what Inner Bloom, dude, is like an anthem, right?
That song will never not hit.
Exactly. But like,
and I will see that shit live again.
Exactly.
And I'll enjoy it.
So it's like, they're probably trying to find out, what do they do after Inner Bloom?
Yeah.
But even then, like, that's a lot of pressure on artists. And so do I know, like, I don't know them, but like, they probably had a sit down and they were like, are we happy with this? Yes. Put it on Spotify. And it's like, they know people are going to listen to it, and they know a lot. And see, like, that's again back to that This Never Happened stuff. That is like indie dance music to me. It's not like what I would consider club music, which is why like day parties work particularly well for that genre of music.
Right. It seems like with Rufus, it didn't feel like it was a pivot into a direction that seemed authentic to them. Whereas I get that his Ben Bloom might be more, call it indie. And it does feel, when you say it, I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds right. Now, that may not be your cup of tea, but it doesn't feel like it wasn't genuine.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels like Bloom wasn't genuine.
Okay. I think I can understand where you're coming from, at least from that. And again, I would say it's the streaming wars. It is this compulsive need to hit the algorithm. Now, let me ask you a question. How many singles did they release ahead of that album? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. That's another thing about Spotify, is releasing an album these days is like suicide, unless you're like a Rufus Du Sol or an Odessa or some of those people. And the reason it's not it's like creative suicide, right? It's like, why would I put out an album of 12 tracks when Spotify will only at most put one track in their editorial playlists, and then the rest of the tracks I made get no traction whatsoever? And so, so you'll see now, like, if you pay attention to somebody you know is releasing an album, there will be like 6 singles, 7 singles off the album. And then the album comes out and there's only like 4 tracks you haven't heard yet. And it's because The label is trying to get as much out of each track as they possibly can. And so I don't know if Rufus did that or not, but who's somebody that's coming out with an album that I know? Oh, shit. I don't know. But like that has completely changed the landscape, which is why so many artists are only releasing singles and not releasing albums. Dude, even an EP is worthless. Your A side gets all the traction and your B side gets fucking nothing. Because the way people listen to Spotify in algorithmic senses, most people are not clicking on an EP or an album to listen to the whole thing unless they really love the track that they heard from that EP or album. Yeah. So I will say I have a sense of what you're getting at because there are artists that I really love that I will hear a track and I'm like, this doesn't sound like something you would make. This sounds like you pooped this out. Like, and then I get disappointed because I'm like, I know you can do better than this. So I feel like that's kind of what you're getting at with the album of Rufus Du Sol is like, it didn't feel genuine to what they wanted to do or what they are known for. But I think that is a fine line between like, well, what does that mean? Is it inauthentic? Maybe not to them. And it would maybe hurt them to hear you say that. But you're a fan. You're entitled to your opinion. And I'm sure there's lots of people out there that feel that same way that you do, because at the end of the day, artists will almost never live up to the first time we heard them and how much that changed us in that way. And it's like, I wish I could chase that high of hearing certain songs for the first time ever again. I have a perfect example. There's a song called Inhibitions by Joseph Ray and Knox Vaughn. And the first time I heard that song live was Marsh played it at Q Nightclub in Seattle before the Gorge Above and Beyond Group Therapy Weekender. And I was like, what the fuck is this song? Yeah. And I was like, I know this song. I know who this is. Without even knowing who it is, I knew who it was. And like, I wasn't really friends with Danny at the time yet, Knox Vaughn. And I was like, that's gotta be him. And then they played it again at the festival. And I was like, what is this song? And now it's out. And I love the song, and I played it in my headline set, and I'm like, I still love this song, but I can't get that feeling back. No. Like, and so once your artist has a favorite song, like this is your favorite song by them, it's very hard for them to top that. And it's rare that it happens.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it is very hard to top it. But I'm not asking for topping. I'm just asking for like, you know, something that's like within the ballpark of what you typically put out.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like overly like
critical of it.
Yeah, like I'm not coming at it from the perspective of like it's like objectively bad music. 'Cause it's not, because it can't be, because it's music.
Yeah.
You know, so like I'm not going to say it's objectively like bad. It just feels like there's less emotion, you know, and I think that's something that I don't know. I don't know how to understand it or how to express it. And it's been fun talking to all these artists and hearing about the emotion behind the music. We haven't even talked about that yet. Like, you know, fuck. Yeah, I'm like, well, we'll save it for next show.
Yeah,
next episode.
I do want to hit on one last point about AI, and you were saying it sounds like the new Rufus album is AI generated a Rufus Du Sol album.
Yeah.
And like, I think you're just going to hear more of that these days in general with everyone. And, you know, I had a thought, you know, when we're talking about using AI as a tool, you know, I could go on to, I think it's called Suno AI, and tell it like, write me a dark progressive house Deadmau5 inspired track with, you know, soothing female vocals, and it would do it. And like, would it be good? Probably not. But I could take that and turn it into something great. But can I? You know, because at its core, it's not me. It's the AI. And so I think when people are generating ideas musically with AI, it's not actually coming from them. It's coming from an idea that they have. If I were to write a song like that, somebody gave me that prompt and said, write me a dark progressive house, Deadmau5 inspired track with soothing vocals. What I come up with is not going to be what the AI comes up with. And so that, again, is like,
I feel like we should do this as an experiment.
Dude,
I
want to do it because it's like, I would end up turning it into one of my tracks, and it would probably be a situation where the fundamental idea that the AI came up with isn't even there, which I think would be the goal, right? Like, it started the process for me, but I didn't have to like do the legwork of like, okay, what chord progression do I want to use? Like, songwriting is its own skill that I don't have.
Right.
Like, and so it's like, it could do that. And then I could be like, well, this sounds like a really cheesy line. Let's like maybe change it, a little bit here. So like, I think using it as a tool in that respect, it's not necessarily cheating, but like, I think that can lead to, it sounds like AI generated a Discognition track because it started there, and maybe that's what they did. I don't know. Probably not. They're all phenomenal musicians. They don't really need it. But like, I do think you're going to maybe see it a little bit more these days, which is actually good for the people that I think don't use it.
Exactly. I'm glad you went here because I feel like there's discernment where you can tell, you can understand, like, did that, maybe not so much as like, did AI create that, or perhaps a better question is like, how much of the creative process was AI did AI have its hand in? But I think there's a way, there's like an emotional connection and a way to really like understand it as a human to a human versus human to technology. Do you feel similarly?
I do. I think that's kind of what makes us human, man. It's like, you can just tell. It's hard to explain sometimes, but you can just tell. And, I think that's why, and I'm going to go super technical on the business side of music here, like label A&Rs, right? If a song is generated with AI, they need to be able to discern that. They need to be able to tell this is an AI song, not something that you made. But even further than that, I think that, again, it goes back to Spotify, right? Because these labels have to make money. And the way that they make money is from streams. And the way that they make money from streams is essentially releasing the same songs over and over and over again. Spotify has an algorithm that says, it kind of sounds like this song. You might like this song. Kind of sounds like this song. It sounds like this song. And so what ends up happening is you have this completely homogenous playlist of songs that sound the fucking same, dude. But they're getting millions of streams, so why does the label care? Why should they care about pushing the boundaries? Why should they care about doing something different? Because the second you do something different, the Spotify algorithm is like, oh, that doesn't sound like any of this. It's not getting in this playlist.
Yeah, it's kind of perverted incentives.
Dude, it's terrible. Mm-hmm. Yet, the opposite is true on the dance floor. Like, you can get up there and play a fucking playlist of homogenous tunes that all sound the same. But the second you play something that sounds a little bit different, the crowd's like, oh,
yeah,
that's really the job of a DJ. It's not play the songs people want to hear. It's play the songs people didn't know they wanted to hear.
Yes.
And so that's like where I pride myself as a DJ, of playing music that I think people will enjoy and that they haven't heard. Like, that is the fundamental job of a DJ. And so people always ask, why don't you play more music in your sets? And it's like, because, like, you guys already know my music. Yeah. Like, I want to show you guys some different shit that I'm feeling.
There's a lot of forces that exist that we cannot observe with our eyes. Gravity is a great example, but we can observe it in other ways, right? So I don't think it's that wild to think that there's other forces that are acting on us that we can sort of perceive, but we don't know how we perceive them, but we can. And so, like, feeling the emotional connection to art, I think, is something that can be perceived from human to human. Sterility to some piece of art, as humans, we will feel that. Like, why else would we tend to listen to similar music and appreciate similar art to like the people we surround ourselves with and we call friends and we resonate with, because like energetically we're similar, and energetically broadly in terms of all these forces that we cannot feel but are acting on us are like shared and more similar than they are different. And I think that there's like a human way to really appreciate the music and understand it and perceive it and like really internalize it, like this is a human's creation.
Dude, whenever I think about technology, I think about like, what was life like before it? And so taking art to its fundamental piece, its expression. And if you're using AI to express yourself, are you really expressing yourself? If a caveman had access to AI and was like, yo, I need to write on this wall with this rock and draw like what our way of life is, they just do it. They're not like, I really fucking wish I had a tool that could help me write these cave paintings. They just do the shit because they're like, this is what I feel in my heart and in my body and my soul, and I feel like this is important to document. So I'm going to document this shit on this wall because this is where we live. Yeah. And maybe
first step, I'm a caveman. What would you recommend that I do?
Yeah, I mean that's maybe taking it back too far, but it's like, dude, they like, it's self-expression. And so at the end of the day, why are you using tools? But like, that's easy enough. I can't fucking play the piano. I can't play guitar. So like, my Ableton is a tool. Every synth I use is a tool. So I get that it's like a gray area. But for me, like AI, I think sometimes goes too far in certain circumstances. And I don't think we really know the consequences of what that's going to look like in the future. I just don't.
It should be used if it's solving a problem. So if you lack a tool, I need a screwdriver. It's really hard to use your nail on a fucking Phillips head. Do you think I could drive those screws on that shelf in the wall in with a fingernail?
Yeah.
No, I need the right tool. But, you know, if I love what you said, that like, what is art? Expression. It's purely an expression. The only tool you have for expression is you. Like, that's the reason why it's so powerful, is that you are the tool. You don't need a tool for it. Now, you may need a tool like a pencil or a tool like a brush that like allows you to actually execute on said vision. But the architecture, the building, the structure of it, that's you.
But that's like the journey of it too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have this vision for a painting. And it's like, so then you type it into AI. And then it looks nothing like what you thought. That's fine. That's the tool interpreting what you said. It's not actually bringing your vision to life. Now that you've done it, you've seen what AI generated. Now your vision is tainted. Now you're like, that's not really what I had in mind. But ooh, I kind of like this element that it added here. And it's like, okay, so now this piece of art is you and something AI generated. Whereas before it was like, I have this vision for a piece of art. I can't really do it yet, but when I figure it out, it's going to be fucking dope. And like, that's why people learn. That's how you get good at art. Like, it's by being like, no, this isn't really expressing it how I want to. So you have to learn how to fucking do the shit. And I think that's the fundamental flaw.
It's a bastardization of art.
Dude, it's the fundamental flaw I have of AI. It's good for data. Dude, it is good for data. I don't know why we decided creativity was the first thing we were going to use it for. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's good for data. Hey, there's 10,000 fucking people in this list. Tell me the ones that have the last name Williams, which I guess Excel could just do. But like,
yeah, but depending on how clean the data is,
you have to have quality data, dude, and that's the project manager in me.
Yeah.
And so that's like where my like right brain is meeting my left brain, where it's like, I want it here.
Yeah.
But I don't really want it here.
Well, I think when it comes to like AI and software, it's like the thing that it does exceptionally well is like parse documentation, understand languages with far more specificity than my human brain can.
Yeah.
And it can write really excellent code. Well, okay, I can't do that shit. I'm out of a job because it's just better.
Better at it.
It's better.
Dude, but like connecting with people through
Exactly.
creative mediums, it's never, I genuinely think it's never going to unless we make general AI. Yeah. But like, it's never going to have that capability to be like, hey, I made this song. It made me think of you. What do you think about it? If I wrote a song for my girlfriend and after it was done, she was like, babe, that was beautiful. I love that song. I can tell you were thinking of me when you made that. And then I said, well, AI helped me. Does it mean as much now? Like, I don't know. What is that even like? That's a totally different dynamic.
I mean, I think it definitely depends on like how you utilize AI, right? Like, because I definitely don't think like it cannot aid in certain parts of production, perhaps. And this is also coming from someone who doesn't produce music, so I don't really know like the nuances that are there.
Yeah.
And so perhaps I'm coming at it from a little bit of a tainted perspective. But like maybe if it were, okay, here's an example. So like that little shitty canvas painting I painted.
I love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't really come up with that idea entirely by myself in a vacuum, right? I wasn't like, I'm going to get a 1x1 canvas. I'm going to use these 4 colors and I'm going to paint a desert with a cactus and a sun. No, this is the order of operations. I want to paint. I've probably painted thrice in my life ever, and those were when I was under the age of 6. All of them.
Yeah.
So I need to figure out what the fuck to paint. Okay, let's go to Google and search for like easy shit to paint. Gives me 100 options, right? It's like, oh, cool, a cactus, that's cool. Oh, and then color palette, I used Coolers or whatever, one of the color, like, and I'm like, sandy palette. And then it's kind of just like giving me colors. I'm like, okay, I have enough that I need to understand I want like kind of like earthy greens. Or maybe I didn't even use that. I probably just went to the fucking store and bought like the general colors I wanted and just kind of like slow. And then I drew it, and I didn't trace anything, but I like drew it in pencil, and then I like painted over the pencil. And so it's like, is that art?
Dude. So again, like I think...
No, but like, is that art?
Yes.
So what if instead I prompted ChatGPT and said, I want to paint. I really want to paint. I am not a painter. I have, little experience. I'm looking for something that's relatively easy. I'd like it to be potentially something, nature-y. And don't worry about the color palette. I'll come up with that. But let's try and keep the design to maybe 3 to 5 colors. Mm-hmm. And then it gave me that as an outline, and it said paint that. So ultimately it's like the same outcome. I'm going to an art supply store to buy a canvas with an idea in my head that came from some aggregation of resources, whether those were aggregated by myself or by AI, whatever, who knows. And then I went and found the colors, and the outcome was identical. What's art and what's not?
You motherfucker. I would say it is art. It is your art, but it's not your idea. And that's about the best way that I could put it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You used the tools that were available to you to say, I need something easy, right? Someone out there might say, well, you could have gone to a paint and sip night and got the same outcome,
right,
without ChatGPT. And so to that person, I would say, well, you're privileged. but second, no, I would say like that's kind of a microcosm of what we're all experiencing as humans with AI. That is it. What is it? Where is the line? When does it become proprietary property, and when is it just fun?
But even in the paint and sip, sip and paint, whatever.
Yeah, paint and sip.
Paint and sip. Even in that, is it? You wouldn't claim it as your own idea, right? Because they give you the idea.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay.
But you painted it,
Right.
like you like that does not exist if you don't paint it.
So then, like, does art become the outcome, or does it become the idea and the expression of the idea?
Well,
and also, what is the idea? Now we're getting real philosophical, right?
So we are, and so then let's talk about fashion. Dude, a fashion designer comes up with a shirt they want to sell at Forever 21, and then it's mass produced by pennies on the dollar in China. Like, is that art? It was to the fashion designer, but to the consumer, it's just a fucking $4 shirt that they're now, like, they don't really care what the inception of that idea of the shirt comes from. And I think that's where it actually does become dangerous, because with music, you have artists who are working their asses off, coming up with ideas, coming up with all of this stuff in their head, and then they put it out. And then you have assholes who are generating tracks on, like, just using AI, not doing anything to the shit, making it intentionally 1 minute long so that it'll get as many streams as possible. And then, dude, Spotify was literally like, that's fraud. That's fraud. That's not art. That's fraud. And so that's where it's like, and I don't want to get into this at all, but that's where, like, the bill that just passed Congress saying states cannot even regulate AI for 10 years at minimum. Not being able to regulate AI for 10 years is fucking ridiculous, period. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But, like, now they're putting the impetus on the people to decide. But it's not on us. It's on the fucking AI companies to decide where the line is. And their line is, well, where do we lose money? So, you know, I don't know. This
it's fucking recycling all over again,
dude. It is. It's all a fucking.
It's
it's a scam, dude. And, like, I'm an environmentalist. I am. Like, I've been vegan for a long time because of the environment, and it's like, I don't know, man. This became the AI episode, which I actually am glad about because, like, I've been wanting to talk about this. But let's do five more minutes, and then any questions we got for like 5 minutes. I know.
We have touched on exactly 0 of my talking points, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I like that's amazing, and it's fun to have, you know, an episode where you can do that.
Yeah.
So I fucking love it.
Yeah.
All right, so I get a lot of ads for, like, samples of sounds. And it's like, oh, this is a sound pack that sounds like Ben Bomer, and I'm like, what's the fucking point then?
Right.
And so I feel in like there's this reversion to, it's funny having that synthesizer. That's a fucking synthesizer from the 80s. It's like broken, the key's broken, but it also doesn't make sound, and it's just like, fuck. I explored the opportunity of selling it and then buying something perhaps newer.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's like, I don't know if I want to do that, because now I feel like if I buy something newer, then what? I get a MIDI keyboard, I sample fucking Ben Bomer sounds, and now it's just like, oh, mimic Ben Bomer. But that's not the point, right? Like, I'd almost rather have a synthesizer that I cannot fucking figure out, but I have to learn how to figure it out so I can create unique sounds that, while other people can create them, while other people likely have created them, and while other people will create them, there is a creative process. There is an experimentation phase that isn't just forcing something else to experiment. Where I'm going with all this is, like, I feel like I'm experiencing that reversion. Honestly, this is going to sound so fucking barbell theory. Like, yeah, this is kind of barbell theory. Do you know barbell theory? It's basically, I'm going to kind of botch this, but it's like more or less just the theory that, like, okay, you have like a bell curve, like a normal distribution where, like, the majority is here, and then you have the outliers, and the barbell is just the opposite of that, right? So it's like
there's no one in the middle.
Yeah, it's like the middles become so extreme that there's a mass polarization, and so you have, like, this sort of, like, basically the idea is you have on one side of that curve that they call it an upside down bell curve, but what's an upside down bell? It's a fucking bell. So, the barbell curve, you have on one end sort of like the technologist, CEO, AI leveraging, billionaire creating, solo entrepreneurs, like unicorn, billionaire valuation creating solopreneurs and stuff like that. And then on the other side, you have people who forage and have a 40-acre farm and live in the middle of nowhere. And I get why that theory exists and why that's also frightening, and that's kind of how people perceive the world. And I read an article that was like denying it. And I'm not saying I'm a huge advocate of it. I think that's like the reality. But I do feel that the AI and technology just blind acceptance is forcing me to want to revert back to like more primitive times. 100%.
Yeah. Dude, I really feel you there.
Yeah.
I wish we could close Pandora's box. Like I do. Like, I think we were doing fine. Dude,
yes.
Social media was hard enough to implement into society.
Yeah, true.
And now
think about how little power that was initially perceived to have, and think about the ripple effects it has had.
Dude, it's like we've unleashed the beast.
Yeah.
It is here. But I feel you. But I also do think there is a argument to be made from a personal standpoint. There's this cell phone out there right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Dude, it's like it's like a Kindle. But it's like there's no apps.
Yeah.
It's like you can text, you can call, and like you can read books, but that's it. Like you can't get on Facebook, you can't get on Instagram, you can't fucking do any of that shit. And it's like, as a creative, I have a compulsive need to promote my art. And I am in like, what's the word on it? Like, I'm in conflict with that because I don't want to be consuming social media so much. I don't want to be on social media a ton. My ex-girlfriend is an influencer, and like
LA.
She's very LA, and that's fine for her. But like, I don't want that life.
Yeah.
And it used to make me really uncomfortable. Like when she's a food influencer, vegan food influencer, and it used to make me really uncomfortable when we're out at a restaurant and she's got to take 40 pictures before we can even eat. And I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. Like, what is this actually for? And the argument is, well, it's to spread awareness for veganism, its benefits, and all of this other shit. And it's like, okay, but like, why? Like, what is the fundamental purpose of this? And, that's where I'm at with AI right now. And like, if the fundamental purpose is to make like mundane, menial tasks obsolete for humans, I'm on board all the way, dude. All the way. But as a creative, I do have to say, well, what place does this tool now have in my life? Because as a project manager, if this thing can send me an email and be like, yo, you're 3 days from this deadline and you haven't even started, by the way. Like, sick. I want that. But if it's like, oh, by the way, your chord progression here, you could do this, might make it a little bit more catchy. That's hard to ignore. That's really hard to ignore. But then is it me? Is it me? Because like it's like the same thing with labels giving feedback on music. Hey, we like your bass line, but we think it should maybe go a little bit like this. Like there has to be some sacrifice to play ball, but like at the end of the day, when does it stop becoming what you made and then it is now what they made? And so, I think that there is a place for it in our society, but I think that it does need some super fucking heavy regulation around it. And like, there's always going to be some dudes out there who are getting around the regulations. Like, how do you even regulate it? Hey, don't use ChatGPT. Okay. We can't go that far. We'll only use it for this. Okay. Still can't really go that far. So like it's tough, and I really think they just kicked the can down to somebody 10 years ago is what they did. They're like, we're not smart enough to deal with this problem right now, so we're going to make it someone else's problem so that it can't come back on us. And you know, I think it's really a shame, to be honest with you, about like in general the population of the world being exposed to this tool without any knowledge of it. It has already become so powerful before so many people even know what it could do 2 years ago. Like, they're like, oh yeah, just chat GPT that. It's like, okay, what does that mean? And like, we don't have to get into this, but like, I think human relationships are really going to change on a in a bad way. Like, it's already hard enough to like, people get anxiety if you have to call a person to order a pizza. Like, oh, DoorDash is down. Guess I'm not eating. Like, bro, just call somebody, dude. Like,
but it seems with social media, there's just a mass adoption, and as a creative, you feel the compulsion to promote your art.
yeah,
So I think in that statement, there's like a surrender to social media, a surrender that it's not something you want to do. You begrudgingly post and promote via social media as it's sort of a necessary evil. Well, if AI is something that can more or less like be optional in the sense that you as a creative can decide whether or not you use AI to make your process a bit easier, the outcome is not through AI. It's a conscious decision that you make to use it or not. So I think the bit of optimism that I hold here is that while I don't love that the burden is put on the consumer, that is wrong, in my opinion. I do think it is a bit unique to say social media in the sense that it can be purely optional. If you are a developer and you choose not to use AI, now you may lose your job, you know, but there may be a client who says, I refuse to work with a company that uses AI, and I will not hire a developer who uses AI. I had a lead who asked if I use AI because he was like, I don't know if I like that. I'm like, interesting. This is interesting to hear you say you do not want to hire someone who uses AI.
Yeah.
Because Google will not hire someone who doesn't.
Right.
In fact, they're firing people for AI.
for not, yeah,
Right? So it's like, and that just shows the polarity, right?
yeah,
So I guess my point is that like sort of the optimist in me looks at it and says, well, fortunately, it's a bit unique to social media in the sense that they're tools that you like. Everything, the AI, they're all called tools.
Yeah.
Right? You know, social media has never been referred to as a tool. Like it has in the sense that it is a tool, but like it's sort of like this creature that you have to keep feeding and feeding and feeding, and if you feed it enough, it'll protect you and help you, and you know whatever. It's this creature and it can serve you.
yeah.
It feels different with AI, and it almost feels like there is. And again, this might just be being a hopeless optimistic, but it feels like there's a bit of buy-in that we do have whether we choose to use it. But there's going to be people who fuck it up and who misuse it, and you need to account for that as well. And that's where the policy comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And going back to like social media, like my girlfriend Jen doesn't use it. Like she has an Instagram, she has a Facebook, doesn't use it. Like she's not on there. And I'm not going to say that I'm like chronically on there, but I'm on social media.
Yeah.
And so I think that, but she uses AI every day at work. You know, she works for Whole Foods corporate and like, which is Amazon.
Right.
So, you know, in her job and her professional career, like social media is some people's professional career. And so they will end up using AI and social media in tandem, which I think is like wild, first of all. But, you know, I look at her and I'm like, how can you not use social media? What is your life like? And I'm like, well, I know what your life is like. We live together. And it's not so bad. But I do hesitate. I think like social media is revolutionary, right? But it's not as revolutionary as the internet itself. AI, I think, is as revolutionary as the internet itself.
If not more.
If not more.
100%.
And so there, I think we do have to like really be careful about, like, as a society, like you said, there's buy-in, right? Like, I'm sitting here getting a certification that I paid $800 to take this course to get a certification in AI, simply because I want to know what are best practices. How do I use this responsibly?
Right.
What are the guardrails in place, if any? And like, I want to be in a position, I'm not having kids. Like, I'm not going to pass this information down to them, but I want to know for my own self, like,
Right.
what like, I need to have the information to make a decision. If I go work for Microsoft, it's not my decision. You use it, period. And here's how you use it. And so I think that is, again, another dangerous part, because my mom, I hate to get into this, but like, my mom is 61. She's disabled, diabetic, you know, she's half blind. She's my mom. She's super intelligent, very smart, hardworking, wants to contribute. She can't get a job, right? Because she's older and disabled, but she's not old enough to retire. But she also can't get disability because the state of Ohio has decided you're not disabled enough to get disability, whatever the fuck that means. But now, in the age of AI, dude, there's plenty of 40 and 50-year-olds who are like, I'm too old for that. Like, I'm not even gonna try. And it's like, okay, so now we're like cutting out a significant portion of the workforce. And like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But it's like, it's like, dude, I'm sorry. I know this.
No. I'm glad you said it, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
But I'm right there with you.
It's like, my brain has just gone so far down this hole now. And like, this is the shit that keeps me up at night, man.
Same.
You know, it's like, I wake up in the morning, I drink my coffee with my dog and my girlfriend, and we sit and we chat before we go to work. Yeah. And then we go to work, and then it's like, okay, now all this real life shit I have to like confront. Like, I'm the AI advocate on my team, but I'm sitting here with you talking like, I don't know about that AI shit, you know? And so, I don't know. It's all just really, really, really fucking dystopian feeling at the moment. Yeah. And I think everyone's feeling that, which is why, to loop it back, which is why I think so many people are getting fucked up and going to raves, dude, because it's fun. And it's like, I don't have to think about any of that shit, dude. When I'm on that stage playing music, playing my own music, watching people just close their eyes and just like be there. Like, I think it's more important now than ever that people go out to raves and concerts and hiking and nature and do everything, because we live our lives inside of a screen, regardless if we like that or not. And so, you know, to put a bow on the whole thing, it's like, I don't really know what we're doing, and no one really knows what we're doing, but we're all trying to find out what this thing's place in our lives is. And what we're not going to do is submit to human authenticity, or not submit to you. I think human authenticity will always have a place. Right. And that's something my friends, not fans, say about me, is that I'm authentic. I say what I believe, and I'm vulnerable when I need to be vulnerable. And I don't think that will ever go out of style.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about money, and specifically my relationship with money. And like, I've never thought about my relationship with money. Like, what the fuck is a relationship with money? Money's a fucking money.
Right.
Right. But now I'm starting to think about that. And I'm starting to think about my relationship with like things that are, I think the first time I experienced this was my relationship with my car in Australia. I fucking loved her. Like, she got me, I called her Kim Possible. She could fucking do anything. Like, she was a bad bitch, strong as fuck. Just let me live in her. Yeah. But I did, you know, And I really started to experience that car, obviously not as a human. There's not like I recognize it's not a human. I'm not on one of those fucking shows that's like, I fuck my car.
Yeah.
You know, but I gave it the respect I think that it deserved. And part of the respect that it deserved was like the gratitude for it, the recognition, the, you know, just like being appreciative and grateful for it. And, it's important that I think we as a society learn the lesson that we should treat things more like humans, perhaps, and don't abuse things as much, even though they may not feel physical hurt and harm from, you know, and I'm not saying don't smack wood, whatever. Like, that's not my point.
Yeah.
It's not like hug everything, but it's like also respect everything and, you know, give it like what it actually deserves. And I think to that point of respect and beating, I beat the shit out of that car too. You know, like it was also a utility, but that's the service it was providing me, right? And then like I gave it love, gratitude. I changed the oil fucking myself and all the time and like really did like treat it with care, but I expected a lot out of her. And she delivered.
Yeah.
Love her. But my point is, I think perhaps there's an awakening because of AI that is caused through AI, because we'll reach a point that hopefully doesn't fucking kill us, but gets us to a point where we recognize the importance of appreciating a tool and using a tool for what it's meant and demanding something from a tool, but also recognizing that there's a place. It cannot become your life. There's respect, there's gratitude, and a recognition that it is serving a role, but there's boundaries there. There's boundaries to it, and those boundaries are so important. You know, that car, I intentionally didn't fuck that car. That was a boundary I set. The car didn't need to set it, you know? It's like, I recognize you're not a partner.
Yeah.
You're a partner in a sense, not a romantic partner, right? But that doesn't mean I didn't love her.
Yeah.
And so I think there's hopefully going to be a bit of a, like a, you know, maybe an awakening or like just a resurgence to like just, I don't know, being more grateful for the world around us, even if it is man-made, even if it is technology, even if it is, you know, manufactured. That doesn't mean we can't appreciate it. I appreciate nature a lot, but I can also appreciate cars, dude. You know?
Oh, dude, I love cars.
Yeah, cars.
I mean,
cars, motorcycles.
That'll be episode 2.
Yes, it will. Or 3. We've already got 2.
Yeah, we got 2. We got a lot. So.
It'll really just be notes for 2, and then we'll never get to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been super great.
Thank you so much, man.
I so appreciate you spending time with me here today. And it's like, you know, maybe I made some friends today, and maybe I lost some. But, you know, I think it's important to just display who we are to people. And, you know, as an artist, I'm in a unique position where it's like there's tons of people who know me that I don't know. And so I need to let those people know, like, hey, this is what I'm about. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing. If you're on board, sick. If not, that's cool too. And, you know, I really appreciate this outlet like a ton. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Dude, absolute pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you. I honestly kind of got lost in your your gratitude and was just like not even realizing you were talking to me too.
Yes.
I was a little caught off guard because that was genuine. I get why your friends call you authentic. I felt it the first time we met.
Yeah, dude.
So.
And that was a great moment too. It's like sometimes some people you just click with, dude. And 100%. I feel like we'll be clicking, dude. This is great.
Cool. Well, we'll chat more.
Yeah.
I'll boogie more at your shows.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. Hell yeah. Thanks, man.
You're so welcome. Thank you.